The FAA is investigating a mid-air collision that happened between an aircraft, a key aircraft obviously used in fighting the Palisades fire, and a drone that shouldn't have been where it was. It was flying in restricted airspace, and as a result, one of these, it's one of two so-called Super Scooper planes, has been taken out of commission for repairs. These are planes that are so essential in this fight. They can scoop up more than 1,500 gallons of ocean water and drop it on active fires.
And they work with almost surgical accuracy. CNN's Pete Montine joins us now. Pete, what exactly happened here?
Well, to put it simply, this was pretty brazen and could have been a whole heck of a lot worse. The restricted airspace has been in place over the LA fire since Tuesday, a safe space for aerial firefighting by effectively creating a no-fly zone for other aircraft. And now the FAA wants to know how a drone ended up in there. It was hit by one of the air tankers helping out from Canada, a Canadair CL-415, better known as the Super Scooper, that has been vital to this air attack. They fly out to the Pacific Ocean, load up on about 1,500 gallons of water, then swoop back in and drop that water on their target fire. This is the exact plane in question, known as Quebec 1. And these are the photos from the Los Angeles Fire Department. You can see the hole in the leading edge of the wing there. That is where the drone apparently impacted this plane. The latest update from the Los Angeles Fire Department says the plane remains out of service right now. And I want you to listen now to police who say the search is on to find out who was operating that drone in restricted airspace.
Flying a drone in the fire traffic area is not only dangerous, but it's illegal. We do have our federal partners behind the scenes are going to be implementing procedures to be able to follow drones in our two large fire areas, and they will be able to identify who the operator of that drone is. The most important thing to know is that if you fly a drone at one of these brush fires, all aerial operations will be shut down. And we certainly don't want to have that happen.
Here is the good news. The pilots did a good job of getting that plane back on the ground safely. Nobody was hurt. Federal Aviation Administration says this: the FAA treats these violations seriously and immediately considers swift enforcement action for these offenses. It is a federal crime to interfere with fighting of a wildfire. You can face up to 12 months in prison, and the FAA can also impose a civil fine of $75,000. The LAFD says for a time this caused the airspace over the fires to be cleared out of an abundance of caution, so all the aircraft on the wildfire had to be grounded, and the FAA says that slows the fire response and could cost lives. Drones are really this emerging hazard right now, and we have seen it interfere with commercial air travel. We've seen it interfere with NFL football games. Now we've seen it interfere with a wildfire, and the FAA really not joking around with its punishment here.
Yeah, this is so terrible to see this happen. When can that plane get back up in the air?
It seems like it should be a relatively easy fix. It looks mostly like just sheet metal, maybe superficial to me. So hopefully they'll be able to get it back up in the air soon. More and more help is arriving all the time. And the good news is California is pretty well equipped to do this. And the crews, these Canadian crews who often help out with wildfires like this from British Columbia and Quebec, they're so experienced with the wildfires there. They really know what they're doing, and they can drop water right on the target. It's almost like watching a great sports game when they really nail it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is impressive work, and so silly for somebody to be up there in the air when they don't need to be when these delicate operations are taking place. Pete Montine, thanks so much for the update. Let's bring in Kenichi Haskett, Section Chief with the LA County Fire Department assigned to the Palisades fire. Thank you so much for being with us, Chief. I do want to get an update from you about the Palisades fire. We know it's 8% contained. How much longer do you think before it can be fully contained?
We want to fully contain this as soon as possible, not only to firefighters and first responders to return normalcy, but we want to get people back home. Infrastructure is devastated. So the power, the water, the sewer, everything is, unfortunately almost looks like what a war zone might look like. We want to get people back as soon as possible, but it could be weeks, it could be months. I don't know. I can't forecast that future. You guys mentioned, I want to hit on it real quick. It's sunny, it's dry, but the weather, those are good recipes for continuing wildland fires. We don't have the winds that he mentioned, which is great, so we can get that aircraft in the air, but it's sunny. When it's sunny and there's open flame, it adds to the fire behavior in the sense that the fire will keep burning.
Yeah, and there's so much fuel out there is the other problem, right? So much dry brush because there hasn't been a whole lot of moisture in that area. How critical is it for your crews to right now capitalize on the winds being relatively subdued before we see that resurgence going into next week?
It allows for more precise water drops and retardant drops from our aircraft and our rotary wing helicopters. So they're able to get ahead of it and stop those large fire front walls of fire that you see that could be 20, 30 feet high. So we'll take advantage of that with our aircraft, and it helps eliminate those spot fires that we're seeing that were going literally multiple football fields up to miles away the other night.
Yeah, I do wonder if you have any update for us on injuries or the death toll. Obviously, it's a difficult process as firefighters comb through areas that were previously inaccessible, but we want to give viewers an update on where things stand on that end.
My condolences first and foremost to all the families that have had member family die. That's not something that we ever want to do as firefighters and law enforcement, is to start recovering bodies on the fire line. So I can't give you an accurate number. Unfortunately, that number might grow that we already have out. So there's been multiple fatalities just on several of our fires, the Eaton fire, and unfortunately the fire that I'm on, the Palisades fire.
Yeah, it is one of the more tragic parts of all the awful scenes that we've been watching unfold. I do want to ask you about, and I just want to let our viewers know, these are actually live images of firefighters battling blazes right on the fire lines. And when we zoomed out earlier, you could see houses on the outskirts there. So these are literally the front lines where firefighters are right now. Chief, I'm curious about how you all are working to get a handle on an understanding of what might have sparked some of these fires. I know that someone was arrested for suspected arson near the Kenneth fire. Do you have any indication to this point on what may have started the Palisades fire or any of the others?
No, you spoke to the Kenneth, that the person's suspect's under arrest for allegedly possibly starting that fire, but that's under investigation at this time. Ours will be under investigation for a length of time, so we need to let law enforcement continue that process. You mentioned the homes next to that open flames. I don't have visual, but I want people to know if they're in a warning area, they need to be ready to go if we have to issue an evacuation order. When tonight, we do not want to displace anyone from your homes. That's where your memories are made. That's where your family lives. But if you're in a warning area, please be ready to evacuate if an order is issued. That's how we save lives. That's how we can help keep you safe. That's our number one priority, is to get you out safely. So I urge your viewers and your listeners to please adhere to the warning and be ready to go if an order is issued. When an order is issued, you need to leave immediately, because it means imminent danger is coming. And we have law enforcement, the National Guard here to prevent looters. And if we do have looters on scene, they will be arrested.
Battalion Chief Kenichi Hassett, we have to leave the conversation there. Thank you so much for the update.